Hello, today we are going to be talking about an art that has been around for hundreds of years. It cannot be perfected, although it has had many different masters over the hundreds of years. For a millennia, the Native Americans in North America relied on the meat from trout to be able to eat from that as the spring and summer turned into fall and winter. Now, the Indians, they used several pretty crude methods. They had tree branches that would hang out over the water, and then the trout would come and eat the bait hanging from lines off that tree branch. But the weapons of choice have evolved over the hundreds of years, and modern day trout fishermen have countless methods and techniques and fishing lures and rods and reels to choose from. So my goal today is just to show you a couple of different techniques and lures that I use, and show you how that can be effective. So I have several different lures out here, and I can begin with what they call a hair jig. All it is a little hook, as you can see in there, and then you tie hair, or as they call it, or it's just really thin string on it. Get a little close up there. This is really nice to use it in close quarter fishing because it's super light, and what it does is as soon as you cast it, it comes down on the water and it slowly sinks because all this hair soaks up some water, and it sinks, and then the trout think it's a bug, and then they come and eat it. The disadvantage is because it is so light, you can't cast it very far. And so oftentimes what will happen is you try casting into a hole, but it doesn't get to the top of the hole and go over very many trout's eyes. So to use this kind of lure, you have to be fairly skilled in order to be able to sneak up on the trout in the creeks. So this is a little bit more advanced type of fishing lure. But here we have the age-old fishing hooks. But you'll notice there are two very, very different kinds of hooks. So I'll start with this one. This is what we call a circle hook, and the reason we call it a circle hook is because it has a very wide gap between the shank, or the straight part, and the actual hook. And the gap is fairly wide, and it's got kind of a circle action going on there, so that's why we call it a circle hook. And you'll notice too that the hook is actually offset a little bit from the shank. And so what that happens is that allows the hook to go into the side of the trout's mouth if you do end up hooking a trout. So generally how any hook is used is you put the kind of bait that is desired on it. It could be anywhere from a worm to a fake egg, or maybe some kind of bug, and you put a sinker, or basically a small weight on maybe 6 to 12 inches up on your line, and you cast it out there, and then it just kind of sits on the bottom between 2 and 4 inches, I'll say, and then the trout will see that, and then they'll come up and eat it. So this is a circle hook, and then we call this a straight hook, or some will call it a needle hook. And why they call it that is because this has a really long shank. And so what that allows is you can have more bait on the hook, and the actual hook part is more hidden. And so if the trout are more finicky and they're not quite more picky, then they won't be able to pick that out and realize that it's not real food. So that is a straight hook. One of the more common types of lures is spinners. And so basically what it is you have a small metal wire going down. You can kind of see it there. And then they attach a lead weight to it. That can vary anywhere from a 32nd ounce to 2 or 3 ounce. And then they put a little treble hook on the bottom. Generally it has hair on it to disguise it. And then it's got this little spinner deal going on, so when you pull it through the water, that spins in the water, and that gives off vibration. Oops. And the trout think it's some kind of minnow going by, or something along those lines. So this is one example of a spinner. Here's another example of a spinner. As you can see, this one's a lot smaller, but again, same principle. Also, here we have another one which is very similar. I like to call this the jig and Mr. Twister. So this will spin in the water, giving off vibration, and this little thing will flash, attracting more attention to it. Get a pretty good view there. You attach the fishing line there, pull it to the water, and it'll spin. So there's a whole world of exploration out there for you, and if you apply some of these tips and go trout fishing, then your eyes will be open to a whole new world. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that, and I hope you can start trout fishing.